Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Like a House of Fire, a Cage-Side Seats occasional video cast series starring Sean Rueter, writer and editor on CagesideSeats.com, the best damn pro wrestling community on the internet, brother. All right, so I'm calling this an emergency session of Like a House of Fire because I knew that I wanted to cut one of these this weekend. The sooner the better, probably. So, but I was sort of stumped. I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I wasn't inspired by, we've already covered Sting and Kenta and the Lana controversy we've already moved past in the conversation, apparently. And I don't know, some other stuff. I forget what we talked about in the first one. But inspiration struck like a bolt of lightning and caused me to immediately fire up the old HD camera, and I'm even doing this standing up. I'm apoplectic. I am beside myself, and the reason is it has nothing to do with Sting. Sorry. Although I will say, just briefly, since that's the news of the day, he showed up at San Diego Comic-Con yesterday, and he's got an action figure coming out. It looks pretty sweet. It's not as cool as the Blue Tista one that I am going to get and then put on my shoulder and wear it for all of these future video casts, future episodes of Like a House of Fire, until Gino fires me for it, which will probably take 13 and a half seconds. Well, let's say 18 seconds, since that's the real crux of the cut of my jib today, Cage Siders. I'm worried about Daniel Bryan. I wrote that, got up this morning, saw that he had an autobiography coming out. I'm like, cool. I'll read that. I like wrestling books. He was in Wrestling Road Diaries. He tells a good story. That'll be great. And I'm writing it up, and I find the Twitter thing from the WWE Universe Twitter account, and it's got a picture of him standing in front of the mock-up for his book, and I kind of had a little like my heart stopped for a second because he doesn't look good. And I'm trying to not freak out. So that's why, like I said, emergency session. I need you, the Cage Side Seats chapter of the internet wrestling community, to help me calm down, because I don't know. His arm looked skinny, like really skinny. Like I saw somebody in the comments for that post. I can't remember who. I'm sorry, or I'd give you a shout out. Said it was like Orndorff arm, which isn't a good thing. I don't know. He just didn't. He sort of looked emaciated. He's never been like a ripped dude or anything, but and here's the thing. I know rationally in my frontal lobes of my brain, not my lizard brain, that that's to be expected. The man had neck surgery. We know it didn't go as smoothly as we had all hoped, so he probably isn't hitting the gym. But he just looked a little bit too much like, my Uncle Pepper, who is a 60-something-year-old chain smoker who doesn't leave the woods. That's actually not true. I did have an Uncle Pepper, but he was an old Italian man. I just made that up just because I was trying to be funny. See, I'm nervous, and that's what happens when I get nervous. I lie and make up stories about relatives who live in the woods. It's a really specific affliction, and I should probably get it checked out. But like I said, so he didn't look good to me, and we're going on a little while here without even like rumor news. Like at first, we were hoping he'd be back. He was going to be back for SummerSlam. They were thinking that too. They were going to restart the Kane feud, and then he was going to get Lesnar. But then since they pulled back from that and said no, he won't be back for Battleground or that, I think there was a little bit of a tidbit about, well, then it'll be Night of Champions, but then it wasn't going to be Night of Champions, and now we haven't heard anything. And I think that no news is probably not good news. And, I guess we were getting ready for that. The most important thing is that he gets healthy. He is a guy with a lot of interests outside of wrestling, even though I think that's his passion. And it would be great if he could live out his life, organic beet farming or whatever he's going to do without pain, and with full range of motion in his neck and his arms. So first and foremost, that's what we want for him. If that means never wrestling again, that's, we'll deal with that. It is, in a way, that's sort of, that makes this like, I know. I don't know. I was going to say something like Bryan Piccolo, but he died, or Gale Sayers also dead. So I'm going to not use those examples. But it is. I mean, it's he doesn't. You don't get a better moment than what he got at WrestleMania 30. So if that's really the end, I think we can all forget the Kane match after that and the B-level horror movies we saw in the hallways. So if that was the end, that's a hell of a way to go out. If sort of what I'm thinking right now, and again, no facts to this. I got nothing to back this up. It's just like a gut reaction. I'm kind of thinking we've got a Shawn Michaels type situation on our hands. Maybe we won't see him for several years, and he'll sort of drift out of our consciousness, our pro wrestling consciousness, and we'll consider him retired, and then he'll come back after medical advances catch up with his condition, and he rehabs over time, and the wear and tear of his career to date, his body recovers from that in general, and maybe then we get an awesome 3 to 5 years from him, a couple of years down the road. Maybe this is all for naught, and he will be back by, he'll be ready for the Rumble, he'll win the Rumble, and he'll go in and take the belt off of Lesnar or I guess it couldn't be or Cena at Mania 31. I mean, that would be dope. Because I think that's best case at this point. I think the fact that we haven't been teased with any news, the fact that he does look like at best he hasn't been hitting the gym, so he's not getting ready for a return in September, October timeframe. I think the best that we could hope for would be like early next year, getting back for the build to Mania 31, and that would be great. But like I said, I think I have to start bracing myself so that I don't freak out and call emergency video podcasts. That it might not happen, and we might have seen the last of Daniel Bryan in his trunks for a while, and that's okay. It's okay, everybody. It's okay, Sean. I don't feel like it's okay right now. It kind of makes me sad. I think I commented somewhere that the best thing about the Brie Bella Stephanie McMahon angle from earlier this week was that it reminded me of Daniel Bryan and how great that story was and how that carried me through as a WWE fan for most of last year. And there's some great stuff going on right now, but there's nothing that's as good as that. And I want to remember that, because I don't want to be somebody who's so jaded and what have you done for me lately. That was an epic story that they gave us last year, and that he gave us last year with the help of Triple H and a bunch of other people, Randy Orton. So that's pretty awesome, and I miss it, and I miss him, but wish him well, and I hope he's back soon, but if he's not, we'll be okay. I'm going to keep telling myself that like a mantra. So yeah, and Sting will be here. They wouldn't be doing all this stuff if he wasn't coming in for something with somebody. He's gonna wrestle. I think it's smart what they've done. I'm not a big Sting fan. I said that in one of the earlier episodes of Like a House of Fire, but they've got me pretty amped up to hear his music and see him come down the ramp or from the rafters, however they decide to do it for whoever he ends up facing. They're being smart about educating lapsed fans, new fans about who he is and why he's important, and building up that moment. So they can keep telling us he hasn't signed contracts, but it's going to happen. I'm a rock apologist, rock fan, and I'm thinking, maybe I'll go cheer myself up and go see Hercules. I don't like Brett Ratner movies, but it's getting good reviews, and God damn it, it's The Rock. So have a good weekend, everybody out there in Cage Side Land. Like I said, tell me it's going to be all right with regards to Daniel Bryan. I think I've talked myself down, but it means more to me when you guys tell me. So my name's Sean. You can get at me on Twitter, at S1Rude on the Twitter machine. And I guess that's all I got. Yes. Deal with it.